Alright guys, I've been super excited to get this project done and get the AC going in the Dakota, and unfortunately I don't have any stinking weather to cooperate with me to actually use it. It's been 55 degrees today, so not really a good test. But I'm going to just go over how I got it set up in here, as well as just how you can make it work in just about anything with these TDIs. So this pretty much applies to the ALH and the BEW. They both run pretty much the same compressor. Obviously the ALH is way down there at the bottom. And the biggest obstacles, of course, are the AC lines, and honestly I don't know if it's going to work this easy for anything else, but this was pretty crazy. So I have the factory low pressure line coming up there from the pump, and I had to bend it quite a bit. I may go ahead and like paint that thing black so it's not quite so noticeable, but it had to get manipulated there quite a bit, and it has a little bit of a twist in it. And the other downside was that is the factory dryer for the Dodge, and usually that would be straight up and down. I don't know if I'll run into some long-term effects from having it angled like that, but I could not believe, with a little bit of adjustment to the hole, that VW line bolted right into there. It was almost unbelievable. So again, I may have to modify this down the road. I expected to have to weld the line like I did in the Toyota. If you guys watched that video, I should say I had the Toyota line TIG welded to the VW line to be able to connect it to the dryer like that. But this thing is the same size, O-ring and everything. It plugged right in, and with a little bit of adjustment to that bolt hole for the mount, it worked perfectly. So anyway, that is all I had to do for the low pressure side. Now the high pressure line comes right off of the Dodge evaporator there, or sorry, condenser, and it was tucked up along the side. I kind of bent it up there because I've got all the stuff in here now, but it's still pretty much running in the factory location along the rail there. It's kind of hard to see. Well, sorry, not really the factory location, but it used to come up onto the engine from right about here, and I laid it on the frame rail down to the back there, and I'll have to go underneath the truck to show you guys what happens from there. So I'll go ahead and go down there. Alright, so for the high pressure line, again, you guys saw where it was headed this way. To use, I did have to use both lines. So this is the VW line headed towards the Dodge line, and it made it right about to there from underneath the engine. It's a little unconventional to go down underneath, but it actually fit perfect, and I did the Toyota the same way. But again, I don't think this will happen on any other vehicle, but I tested it out, and the line from the Dodge is exactly the same diameter as the VW hose. So I had a crimp tool and some crimp ends. I was able to, the only thing is I didn't have any, that's just a cutoff section where it had went to the Dodge compressor. And I had to kind of file some ribs into the line there because it didn't have anything to catch really, and obviously that high pressure line can see over 200 psi. So I'm kind of watching it to make sure, but it is tight. There are no leaks, and I've ran it about 5 times now, I think. Like I say, the weather hasn't been really cooperating for me to do some long-term testing on it. It's been not AC weather yet. fortunately or unfortunately. And anyway, that is all I did for both lines. You can see the original VW line going up for the low pressure, and this one coming straight out. So now we'll go over electrical. So there's not a whole lot to show you there. Unfortunately, I tried for quite a while. I was really hoping to use the factory wiring and everything to get the electrical to work, because it does have the high pressure shut off there and the low pressure over on the dryer. But I could not get the relay to trigger on with everything and with pressure in the lines. I'm not sure. I could dig into the schematics and probably figure it out, but unfortunately, I'm kind of, I don't know, I tend to err on the side of simplicity, so rather than dig into that, I went ahead and took the, I reused the relay that's still in the box, and it's wired to that VW compressor, and you kind of saw the plug down there in the last section of the video. It's just a 12 volt on and a ground, so it's pretty easy. The relay clicks on and that engages the clutch. So rather than try to figure out what all is being, I guess what all is stopping that circuit from working, I went ahead and wired the trigger for the relay through just the low pressure. I could have done the high pressure switch too, but I may go back and do it. Again, I'm not 100% sure this is what I want to do, but just to show you, in any vehicle you want, if you wanted air conditioning, if you've got your factory setup, your condenser and evaporator, dryer, and the AC compressor, if you can get all that stuff set up, all you really need is the low pressure switch for safety so it doesn't run dry. I don't know how important the high pressure is. Of course it would be nice to have, but I've ran a couple of them now without it, and I could be risking blowing up the whole system, but I don't know. I usually run them on the low side anyway. So anyway, long story short, with that running through the low pressure switch, as soon as I put pressure in the system, I can hear that click on, and I ran all that inside. So we'll go ahead and go inside and check that out. So inside, normally this would be your push button to turn the AC on, and that's what I couldn't get to work right now. I may go in and wire it through there for right now, but for the time being, just to test this out, I just have two switches here. One engages the AC clutch, and one of them is just for the fan. I don't have the fan wired into a or the radiator fan, I should say, wired into the thermostat switch yet, but I can kind of show you here. This one will click on. I guess I don't have the key on. And just so you can kind of hear here, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but that's the AC clutch engaging, and there's the fans. So that is really all you need to manually run air conditioning. And like I say, running through the low pressure switch, that's pretty safe. So like I say, I haven't had an issue blowing it up yet, but I'm not going to say it's not possible. But that is how I got the AC working in the Dakota, and I do believe if you hook that up in just about any of your rigs, you should be able to make it work. And yeah, I think that's about it for this video. I'll probably show you guys how it's working some more once we get some hotter weather, and just kind of show you the radiator working well to keep her cool. with it nice and cool inside. So hopefully that helps you guys out with some air conditioning and just show you. You could wire it through the factory setup, but this shows you how to pretty much do it in anything. So thanks for watching.